FM News Talk 97.1. On-demand audio.
Right now, the announcement that I've been teasing you all on Facebook and Twitter, and we've been discussing the U.S. 2nd District House race here in Missouri because it's heating up to be a very interesting race. We just had some redistricting, which means that Russ Carnahan was now run out on a rail, and he's not going to go. Maybe he can go into the wind farm business with his brother. They got all that government money. Joining me on the phone right now is Ann Wagner. Now, Ann Wagner joined us when she had made a bid to become the RNC, the first RNC chairwoman, and she's on the phone with us now. Ann, good afternoon to you.
Hi, Dana. It's great to be with you and your listeners on 97.1.
Well, we're glad to have you. Earlier today, Todd Akin announced that he is going to be running in the Senate against Claire McCaskill, and after his announcement, I think a lot of people were looking for him to make this move. Now, you had formed an exploratory committee to look at the possibility of running for Representative Akin's old seat. And I'm curious as to whether or not this exploratory committee is still exploring.
Well, you know what, Dana? I was at Todd Akin's announcement today, and it's exciting, and we're thrilled that he's moving on to this next stage of service. And Todd Akin is my congressman, and I'm supportive of his move, and it's a tremendous opportunity to defeat Claire McCaskill in the Senate. But today, after 3 weeks of being an exploratory candidate out of respect to our Congressman Todd Akin, today on your show, I am making it official. I am indeed a candidate for Congress from my hometown, the 2nd Congressional District.
This is big news indeed. This is going to be a very interesting race, and the redistricting has really sort of changed the game up. Now you're a lifelong resident of Missouri's 2nd District. You know this district incredibly well, and it's a pretty solid red district. I'm excited to see that you're throwing your hat in the ring, because I didn't think that you were finished after the RNC chair race. I just didn't think that you were done, because you got a really welcome reception from everyone. You went out and you were talking to a lot of people. And the thing I think that makes you different than some other individuals that I've seen is that you've never ran yourself for elected office.
You're right, Dana. You know, I have been involved for well over 20 years in the private sector, in community service, and in politics. But this is the first time in my life that I have ever put my own name on a statewide or federal ballot to run for office, and I'm fed up. You know, enough is enough. I'm absolutely, like most Missourians and most of America, absolutely sick and tired of this out of control spending. You know, it's time that we get back upon the move of economic growth and job creation. It's deplorable, and we have absolutely mortgaged our children's future. And I'm concerned. I'm scared for the future of our country, for our children, our grandchildren. You know, I'm here to be a part of the solution, I hope, in Washington, D.C., for our community, for the state of Missouri, and for this newly crafted 2nd Congressional District, which is, in fact, my hometown, the place where my husband Ray and I grew up, where we went to school and raised our children. We've worked. We go to church. It's a marvelous opportunity, and one that I hope the voters of the 2nd District will give me an opportunity to be their conservative voice in Congress.
Now, you've really worked with a lot of campaigns. You've fundraised for a lot of individuals, and a lot of people credit you because you ran the RNC here in Missouri for a period. A lot of people credit you with the red wave that took place the last several elections here in Missouri. How different? And obviously, this is sort of a rhetorical question, but you've never been the candidate. So how are you having to change things up now, completely taking a different path to an elected seat?
It's fabulous, Dana. You know, I'm a grassroots activist at heart. I spent 9 years as Lafayette Township Committee woman here in West St. Louis County in Baldwin, which is my current home. I've lived all over the district, from South County to Webster Groves to now my home is in Baldwin. But it's marvelous to be a candidate, to get out and talk about these issues. Part of the 3-week exploratory committee was also listening to people in the district, you know, about what they're looking for in terms of conservative leadership in Congress, and who America wants to be, who we want to be as a people and a nation. And it is time that we stand up and protect the free enterprise system, take our freedom back. You know, I spent 4 years as a U.S. ambassador in Europe, and I know all about socialism up close and personal. And when I came back after that tour of service and duty, I felt like I'd left one socialist country and had returned to another. And I've had enough. Enough is enough. I have children that are graduating from college and university as soon as this coming weekend. And I don't know what kind of future, what sense of the American dream we're going to have passed on to them. So I'm ready to be a candidate. I feel like I've trained a lifetime as a citizen, as a grassroots activist, as a public servant, and I hope eventually as a congresswoman from the 2nd Congressional District.
Now, the new litmus test, and I know that you've seen the political landscape change, especially over the past, well, since right before, I would say, the election of our current president. And it seems the new litmus test now to have a really solid candidacy is to have, if not the entire support, because they don't really endorse, but to have some support of the grassroots Tea Party movement. Now, what have you done in terms of going about and connecting with grassroots activists and letting them see what you stand for and hearing what they have to say about what they want to see done in Washington, D.C.?
Well, I have tremendous respect and appreciation for this. What I call the Tea Party, Patriot Party movement is truly the most authentic grassroots movement that I have ever witnessed in my lifetime. And I credit them with our wonderful success in 2010 and the beginning to take back our country and to overthrow the Obama administration and the leftist regime that we've seen in Washington, D.C. I worked in 2010 with a lot of members of the Patriot and Tea Party groups across the state of Missouri, and then as running for RNC chairman, from the Freedom Works forums to the wonderful response across our entire country from this grassroots movement of true conservatism, it was just a marvel to see the support that we generated. And it's something we have to continue to harness moving forward through 2012. The job is not finished. We have got to elect a new president, take back the Senate, and certainly replace Claire McCaskill, and also keep the 2nd Congressional District in strong conservative leadership hands. And I hope I'll be able to serve the people of the 2nd in that regard.
Well, a couple of more questions that I have for you. I know that you have an insane schedule today, and we're glad that you chose to announce this on the show. It's very cool. I wanted to ask you, because now this is becoming a populated race. We have Sarah Steelman, we have Ed Martin. How do you differentiate yourself from your new opponents in the primary?
Well, in the primary in the 2nd Congressional District, there's one other announced candidate, and there may be others. This is, as you said, a real positive St. Louis region, metro region district that I think is going to be one that generates great interest, and that's a part of our democratic process. But
right, I mean Martin Steelman's with Aiken. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
Yeah. There's one other announced candidate, and there may be others, and I welcome any and all to the race. This is as part of our democracy, a part of the discussion. You have to get out and visit with people, work hard, talk about your principal core values, and certainly talk about solutions for the future. And we have got to have a real adult conversation about this out-of-control spending, our soaring debt, the over-regulation in Washington, D.C., and the assault on our free enterprise system. There is a different way to go about this and to grow jobs and to restore our economy and our fiscal stability.
Right. One of the big thing all over from every political website, it's in the papers, Newt Gingrich's interview, and I have to ask you about his statements, because it's not just a huge story about his campaign, but it's also sort of become a line in the sand as to where candidates stand. Gingrich, as you know, he had criticized Representative Paul Ryan's path to prosperity. He called his entitlement reform radical right-wing social engineering, and he had also expressed interest or support for a variance in the individual mandate. I'm curious as to whether or not you saw Mr. Gingrich's remarks and what you made of those.
I did, and I can't imagine what Newt Gingrich was thinking. I don't find the Paul Ryan plan at all to be extreme or radical. It's in fact irresponsible to kick this down the road. I think that we need to get spending and entitlements under control, and Congressman Ryan has, through his leadership on the budget, has put forth some bold ideas to start the discussion and to fill this void left by Barack Obama's failure to lead on these issues. So I'm going to continue to talk to the people in the 2nd District about this plan and about true entitlement reform that actually saves Medicare and Social Security for the future, and about how we rein in this out-of-control spending. Absolutely.
And what is your campaign website?
AnnWagner.com. Please join and be a part of the team. AnnWagner.com. Our Twitter handle is Ann for Congress. We've got some marvelous supporters and a whole lot of folks within the grassroots and people that are interested in changing the course of America that want to be a part of our campaign, and all are welcome. And I just thank you, Dana, for allowing me to come on the show to make this tremendous announcement. I look forward to the many months ahead.
Well, we're definitely looking forward to it. It's going to be a fantastic race. Best of luck, and thanks for joining us this afternoon, Ann. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Dana.
All right, take care.
Bye now.